Plant FAQs. Philodendron Rio. What is a Philodendron Rio? I'm Ferb Vu, and as a plant enthusiast, I'm often drawn to unique and interesting foliage. The Philodendron Rio definitely fits the bill. It's a stunning variation of the ever-popular Philodendron Brasil, boasting a distinctive silver variegation pattern that sets it apart. Think of it as the dressier cousin of the Brasil. While the Brasil features lime green variegation, the Rio stuns with a central silver stripe, flanked by creamy white and dark green hues. The leaves themselves are typically more elongated than the Brasil, adding to its elegant look. See more 623 species in genus Philodendron at monsteraholic.com. How to care for a Philodendron Rio. The good news is that Philodendron Rio, like most philodendrons, is a relatively low-maintenance houseplant. Here's what you need to know to keep your Rio thriving. Light. Philodendron Rio prefers bright, indirect light. Avoid harsh midday sun, as this can scorch the leaves. East or north-facing windows are ideal spots. Water. Water your Philodendron Rio when the top inch of soil feels dry to the touch. Overwatering is a common culprit for philodendron problems, so err on the side of underwatering. Soil. A well-draining, airy potting mix is essential for Philodendron Rio. A mixture of potting soil, perlite, and orchid bark will provide the drainage it needs. Humidity. While Philodendron Rio isn't overly fussy about humidity, it will appreciate a boost, especially in drier climates. Grouping your plants together or using a pebble tray filled with water can help increase humidity levels. Fertilizer. During the growing season, spring and summer, you can fertilize your Philodendron Rio with a balanced liquid fertilizer once a month. Dilute it to half strength to avoid fertilizer burn. How to propagate a Philodendron Rio. Sharing is caring, and what better way to spread the Philodendron Rio love than by propagating your own plant? Here are 2 methods you can try. Stem cuttings. Take stem cuttings that are at least 4 inches long, with at least 1 node, the bump where leaves and roots grow. Dip the cut end in rooting hormone and plant it in a pot with moist potting mix. Place the pot in a warm location with indirect light, and keep the soil moist but not soggy. Roots should develop within a few weeks. Leaf cuttings. While less common, Philodendron Rio can also be propagated from leaf cuttings. Cut a healthy leaf, including a petiole, the leaf stalk, and wedge it into a pot with moist sphagnum moss. Cover the pot with a clear plastic bag to create a humid environment. Place the pot in indirect light and keep the moss moist. With patience, new growth should emerge from the base of the petiole in a few weeks. Tips for a thriving Philodendron Rio. Here are some additional tips to ensure your Philodendron Rio flourishes. Provide support. Philodendron Rio is a natural climber. As it grows, you can train it to climb a moss pole or trellis for a vertical accent. Regular repotting. As your Philodendron Rio matures, it will eventually outgrow its pot. Repot it every 1 to 2 years into a slightly larger pot with fresh potting mix. Pruning. Pruning is a great way to encourage bushier growth and control the size of your Philodendron Rio. Simply snip off leggy stems or unwanted leaves using sharp, sterilized pruning shears. Philodendron Rio versus Silver Stripe. My Philodendron Rio is a real head-turner. The leaves are a deep emerald green, but the magic happens in the center. Each one has a splash of light variegation, almost a creamy white, that fades into a thin silver stripe before giving way to the dark green. It's like a tiny, elegant painting. The silver stripe, on the other hand, feels a bit more uniform. While it has that lovely silver stripe too, the variegation in the center tends to be a lighter shade of green. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but the Rio's creamy center adds a touch of whimsy that I adore. Philodendron Rio versus Brasil. Now, Philodendron Brasil is a whole different story. This one's a party in a pot. The leaves are a vibrant mix of greens and yellows, some with broad streaks of chartreuse, others with just a hint of lime. It's a lot less predictable than the Rio, which can be both a pro and a con. On one hand, every new leaf is a surprise. But on the other hand, the Rio's consistency makes it a bit easier to care for. I know exactly how much light it needs to keep that stunning variegation popping. Still, the Brasil's infectious energy is hard to resist. With a little care and attention, your Philodendron Rio will reward you with lush, variegated foliage for years to come.